I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mute someone.
Someone's making popcorn.
You've received a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll be second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Jeff?
Don't really have anything on the agenda today. Updates. Got a bunch of road closures coming up. The DOT is gonna be closing the Conrad Bridge just northwest there. Sometime April is the late start date. PCIs to be on that one. They don't have an actual start date, but it was late start date on that contract was late April. Then we are going to be starting on Hawk and Green Products about the same time, doing an overlay on that job.
Towards the end of April?
Yep, end of April is when Aspro is supposed to be coming in.
How long do I think that'll take to do that overlay? Shouldn't be very long.
It's not gonna be very long. It's only an inch and a half thick. They're doing two separate lifts. So. Not very long.
Where do they get the asphalt from?
Aspro, I believe they're getting it out of their,
All from Waterloo.
yeah, Waterloo plant. I'm assuming that's where they're coming from. They have not told me that they've set anything up closer. DOT also said that they have a late start date, May 5th, here north of town. But they do not have a signed contract back from the contractor on that one yet. We have Pioneer closed. They are bringing out a second crusher, just starting. What was it? Just north of the machine shed on the west side of 240th. There, where we're going to be putting in a pipe. We have to replace that 72-inch pipe underneath the road just south of 230th. So they're gonna start just south of there, start heading north with it. I think it's already been delivered, but they're supposed to start crushing today with it. And then our guys are gonna go out and replace a 72-inch. We're getting to a point on that road where we're gonna start being more in people's way. So the people who live on that road are gonna start seeing some more inconveniences.
I've already heard.
Hey, do you want the road to remain?
So we are, and then next week, there is a revision of the 5-year plan to bring a couple projects up like Hawk and Green Products to the top, so that as we let them, we have to keep our 5-year plan updated with the DOT. Also, I will be emailing out a proposed 26 budget and 5-year plan so that you guys have time to look at it. Have questions if you want. Today, John Deere is dropping off a motor grader for us to demo that has joysticks controls. We do not have any currently with joysticks. They're all the antler rack. So as we're working towards our specs on putting out for bid, whether or not we want to have joystick controls. Dust control, late sign up is April 18th. As you guys heard, there is multiple people who have thrown away EnviroTech's trifold notice. It was completely different from last year, so. If you guys have any complaints or people out in the public want to know that, they should contact EnviroTech. They are the former Jericho. And late sign up again is April 18th. Last day for sign up. There's a company that long ago we got a grant, a statewide grant for multiple counties to run a steel drum roller across the state of Iowa to map out the road densities. They're supposed to be starting here in April and they're looking for help. So if anybody's interested in working for them. They are looking for people to work anybody, their flexible schedule, 7 days a week. They want these rollers going from 6 AM to 10 PM. So, paying more than $28 an hour. No CDL required, and I believe 18 years of age. That's all I get.
Where are they running that? What?
We have 498 miles in the program, Grundy Center does. Grundy County.
Just Grundy County.
Grundy County roads, gravel roads. They're also hitting Black Hawk and Hardin this year. They're supposed to be bringing in 2 rollers. And they're doing like there's 2 tiers of counties all the way from Dubuque to the Mississippi that they're wanting to hit. So
When do they start that?
they're supposed to start here they want to start this month. But we'll see. It's no cost to us. We've already paid everything long ago towards that grant that we got.
Is it self-propelled?
It is a self-propelled steel drum roller. It drives around at 3 miles an hour. When mapping.
You can inspect the ditches as you
Yeah.
go.
And it's 7 miles an hour when you're deadheading, so when you got the vibrator turned off.
I bet that's a loud machine going on gravel.
That's not that, it's just a vibrating,
Did that all start a couple years ago when this, frost boils were so bad?
yes. Yep, initially it was supposed to figure out, try to map where frost boil issues we would have them. It's kind of turned into a bigger monster than that.
So what kind of report are you gonna get from this when it's completed?
So I'm gonna get an interactive map that will show the soil densities, good, fair, poor type scheme and of the entire mapped area. So I'll be able to look at all of our roads and say, here is where a poor spot is, here's where a good spot is. Why is this good? Why is this bad?
I know a few years ago, at that same time, we had these guy come out with, tried some geo-peering on the gravel,
Easter Rhinebeck, yeah.
bad spots. I never did really find out how that turned out, or if that would be something tied in with this.
So we'll run the roller. I would probably hit it with the roller, so we'll see if there's any difference of before and after, like the before approach to it, and see if it'll identify it.
Do they go down the middle or they make 2 passes?
It's just one pass, mapped one pass only.
Taking the full width of the road?
No, it's just a
Okay.
like a 7.5 foot wide drum. It's just one pass, because one lane is not really gonna be very much different than another lane.
Boy, they're gonna get in a lot when a
But
farmer comes up behind him with a planter on, and
Yeah,
going
3
3 miles
miles
an
an hour.
hour, and he can't get around it.
yeah. So they're looking to go 7 days a week, 6 to 10, 6 AM to 10 PM.
Wow.
It's gonna be kind of it's turning out to be a logistic issue, so they have asked for our help to get fuel, make sure, kind of provide assistance to them. We do get reimbursed for our efforts.
How long before you'll get a report? Did they give you?
Maybe I bet this fall. Cause it goes directly to a live map. So I'm assuming I get one pretty fast, but once they actually run all the calculations, cause it's gonna be a lot of data points. It might be this fall.
So if an older person desires to be involved in this, who would they contact to get signed up?
There is I think a Facebook page we had on there. I have a phone number and an email that you can call.
It's on the county's Facebook page.
Yeah, not their phone number, just the email. But if you wanna make a phone call, then I can get that for you.
It's like it could take a couple weeks to do everything.
That would be ideal.
I mean, how many
I'm
miles did you say?
498 miles,
500 divided by 3.
but it's not just a one-way trip, so you might have to do some deadheading to.
What happens when it rains? Do they won't keep running?
Yeah,
Assuming there's a cab on this machine. Only an umbrella.
there is. Yeah, they said it's a pretty nice cab. Air conditioned, heater.
That sounds like it's right up your house.
GPS?
Check into that, wow. Take a book with you.
Do you know when PCI is gonna work on the bridge on B Avenue?
Have not heard. Have not heard yet.
You think it'll be soon?
I don't know. They got, I'm not really going to push them to do it while Pioneer's closed.
That's, you're
But-
thinking right there.
I do want to get it done this year.
Okay.
So it's up to them to, I mean, it's in their hands, but I have not heard anything yet.
Any other questions for Jeff this morning? Nope. All right, thanks, sir. Carrie, you are next on our agenda.
I just have one thing to get your guys' approval, and I guess, the DNR is switching their website. They're updating, excuse me. They're updating their website that I do all of my well permits through and well testing information. Currently, if someone drills a well in the county, the contractor sends me a check, 2 checks, they send one, for Grundy County and they send one for the DNR. I submit those to the DNR quarterly. I don't have very many. If I issue 3 wells in 1 year, that's pretty busy for me, so. But they're changing it. They will no longer be able to submit a check. If they do, then the county pays it, so it's gonna be just online payment portal, which I still have to do because I'm the one that fills out all of the, permit applications for them. So we have 2 options. We can either do that by credit card, which I have. There is a $1.50 fee plus 2.5% of the $25 that would have to be paid. And the other option is an e-check, which means when I go in and I pay those by e-check, then I enter the county's account information wherever that comes out of, the routing and the bank account information. So I spoke with Brenda and Angie both on it about it last week and just asked their opinions and what they would prefer. And they both agreed that would be better to use the credit card. And in that case, for those extra fees, what I'll do is raise the permit fee from $150 to $155, so that the installer is covering that, or whoever is covering that $5, rather than that coming back on the county just to pay that extra. The fee ends up being like $3.26 or something like that, whatever the exact percentage is, 2%, 2.5% plus the $1.50. So the total is about $5. So if that's the way that we want to go, which I said Brenda and Angie prefer that, because if we do it through the e-check, then it's a little bit harder for paying that stuff out. This way I can go right online, pay it with my county credit card, and then it's done. We'll get a statement. And by the time the permit fees go through, that money will be in the account that I pay my credit card from, and it'll be easy to pay it that way.
Okay.
So if that's the way that you guys also decide that we want to do that, what I'll do is present the fee update to the Board of Health, just make sure that they approve the extra $5 on that fee. And then it can be changed by resolution. So if we're good doing it with credit card, I will get on the agenda. Our next meeting with the Board of Health is like May 13th or something like that. So we'll get that updated with the Board of Health. And then the resolution will come to you guys to change that fee from $150 county permit fee to $155. So I just want to make sure you guys are okay with that before I present it to the Board of Health.
No. That way too, the bank information isn't out there. I mean, a
Right.
credit card's much easier to stop.
Well, and
I mean, should you have?
And I don't want to keep that information, so every time I would get
Yeah.
one, I would have to go to them to get the,
Yeah.
bank account information, because I'm not gonna write it down and keep it at my desk anywhere, obviously. And if one of them happens to not be here when I enter those, and when I say quarterly, I enter those. Like, I don't even know the last time I had to send a check in from anybody to drill a well, because they either rehab their wells that they have. Or if they come back after I've tested them and they're so high and they can't get it down, they plug the well and get raw water anyway, so. Every once in a while I have one, so it would not be very often that we would even be using the card for that fee online. So that just, it just seems to make sense to Brenda and Angie both, just to do it that way and leave it at the $5.
Okay.
So if you guys are okay with that, then I'll present that to May 13th.
Okay with me.
Me too.
Okay.
So then you'll come back with a
And I'll come back with a
resolution.
resolution to update the fee schedule, because it's not, our fee schedules are not in an ordinance, so we don't have to do an ordinance amendment, we just have to change that fee by resolution, so. We keep that out of the ordinance, so we don't have to do an ordinance amendments.
So, a well permit's been $150 for several years.
When I came here 17 years ago, it was $150. There's really not a whole lot that I have to do with them, so that covers my time, gas. You know, wear and tear on a vehicle, $150 covers that, because I usually only have to make one trip out there. To site the well to make sure it's within, a lot of times it comes from a hog confinement, that's
Right.
probably the most times that I've permitted a well. But there are other times, so I have to go out, and check those. Another one that comes into it is if I have to permit for, geothermal. If those are deep enough, if they do the, vertical loops and they're 20 feet or more, then I have to permit those too. So those would count with the wells, so, that would be included in that, but. I usually make one trip out there. I measure setback requirements to make sure that where they're putting those are within the perimeters for our setbacks from like a septic system in a building, and then they're done.
Is there,
Everything else I receive back. from the contractor.
is there a fee to rehab a well?
There's not a fee for it. No, they actually get reimbursed. The homeowner gets reimbursed for rehabbing that. And as long as it's a certified well contractor, which I've never had a homeowner could rehab their own well, but they're not gonna do that. So it has to be a certified well contractor, so I never even have to go out there to look at it. They have to be certified by the state, so they send me the paperwork back and I do it from my office, so there's no mileage cost or anything for those. So, unless it's something where they want me to come and look at it, you know, and suggest what they do, but those guys know what they're doing. I mean, if it's Kevin Peters or Jeff Brown or somebody, they know what they're doing. I'm not
Okay.
required by
Okay.
state to go do those, not when they plug a well and not when they rehab a well.
There's no fee to plug a well.
Nope, they get reimbursed for those.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all the grant, the private
Right.
grants.
Anybody have anything else for Carrie this morning? Okay, thanks, Carrie. You have received a copy of the bills. What are your wishes? Are there any questions on those?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. A copy of the Grundy County Sheriff's quarterly report was passed around. Would anyone care to make a motion to have that filed?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the Grundy County Auditor's quarterly report was passed around. Would anyone care to make a motion to have that filed?
Move acceptance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the IGHCP rate sheet, the confirmation of MSP addendum from Wellmark, EBS group renewal information and participating employer contact information, and EBS authorization for disclosure of PHI. They were all passed around. Would anyone care to make a motion to authorize me to sign those documents?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any updates on board and committee meetings? Do you have anything this week? No. I just had a workforce development, finance committee meeting. We're losing one Title I service provider, and they're working with that. We're trying to, work on getting someone to do the audit. They are still working on last year's. And we just changed a little bit to some documentation policy to make sure that the correct information is in there. Otherwise, that was about all that was done on that. Okay. The next item is to enter into closed session. And so at this time, I would take a motion to enter into closed session.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hey, Alan, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Vic,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
LJ,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
and Megan.
Yes. At this time, we will be entering into closed session. Need to have